Well, welcome to the Talks About This is Marcus, and today I'm joined by Andrew Bernstein, NBA photographer, for the third time. Andy, thank you for coming on.
I'm always happy to be on with you, Marcus. Thanks for having me.
Well, perfect. So how's life and work and everything been going on? I've seen that, or I saw that you were on Larry King a few months ago, maybe 3 months ago.
No, it was actually last month. It was
Okay.
it was great. We did a big publicity push around the book, Mamba Mentality, and I have a great publicist named Shay DeWall from Rogers and Cowan, and she was able to get interviews for me from places I never even thought were possible. Larry King being one. So it was really great, but we're in phase 2 now of the book publicity. I'm starting to do book signings. I did one at Staples Center. I did one at the Lakers store, and I did one at Broman's Bookshop in Pasadena. Now I'm heading east to do ones in New York, Boston, and Philadelphia at the beginning of February.
And what was the process like for making this book? Because obviously you made it with Kobe. Were there other collaborators as well, besides just you and Kobe Bryant?
Well, there were a couple of collaborators. We had a fantastic editor named Chris Steigner, who works for Melcher Media. Melcher Media is the packaging company that put together all the elements of the book: writer, photographer, designer, editor. And Melcher has done some amazing award-winning books over the years. So we're really happy to have them kind of quarterback this project on the design side. And then the designer was located in Los Angeles, a company called Smog Design, and they did a fantastic job, I think. I had some great help on the photo research side, both in my office in LA and the NBA Photos office in Secaucus, New Jersey, trying to dig deep into the archives. And Kobe had a really great editorial, I guess you'd call him an editorial manager, who helped him shape the answers to the questions and the topics. And, all those ingredients went into a giant pot, and out came the Mamba Mentality book.
And what was the process like for you working on this book compared to Journey to the Ring, the book that you worked on with Phil Jackson back in, well, it was about the 2010 Laker championship, but it was released 2 years after 2010.
Yeah.
What was the difference like for this one compared to that?
Well, it was similar in one notable way. Similar because it was a true collaboration between Phil and I. It was a project that we both agreed that we wanted to do, that was important. We agreed on what the book would look like, most notably the fact that it was all in black and white, which was important to both of us. Phil was not as involved in or didn't go as deep into the writing as Kobe did in Mamba Mentality. Phil's writing was, I guess you'd call them kind of extended captions more than anything else. He did some chapter headings and spoke to the photos, whereas in the Mamba Mentality book, the photos spoke to what Kobe was writing about. So there's a big difference. Most coffee table photo books are obviously photo driven. That's why they're called coffee table books. But the Mamba Mentality was more content driven in terms of what Kobe wanted to write about and talk about. So we needed photos that complemented and spoke to what he was speaking about. So it's a different kind of process. More challenging to do the Mamba Mentality book because we had to find specific photos that would really capture what he was speaking about. Whereas the Journey to the Ring book was a documentation of the 2009 to 2010 season. So it's more chronological. So, big differences there, but the incredible similarity was the collaboration that I got to do with these two legendary iconic people in the world of sports. I mean, never in a million years I think I would be collaborating with Phil Jackson and Kobe Bryant on two separate books. So incredible, incredibly grateful for the opportunity to have done these books with those two guys.
And how's the book done so far in terms of sales? Because I know it's been out for a couple months now, or since November or
Yeah,
October?
the book came out officially, October 23rd is when it launched.
Okay.
Pretty quickly sold out the first printing in the U.S., and they scrambled to start to do a second printing because the holidays were coming up. So it's well into its second printing. It was on the New York Times bestseller list from day one, and bounced around from in different numbers on the bestseller list, back on the New York Times bestseller list now. I think last week it was number 15 on nonfiction hardcover, which is pretty amazing if you think about how many books are produced in the United States every week. And the book is now I think it's in like 8 different countries in 5 or 6 different languages, which is pretty amazing, and with more countries and more translations to come. It launched most notably recently in China and just went crazy in China. And it's in Chinese, so that's a big plus for the Kobe lovers in China. So I'm super thrilled about that. I know Kobe is too. And he's so beloved all over the world that this book is done really, really well. And knock on wood, it'll continue to do well.
Well, definitely. Congratulations on that. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, just for people listening that might not know this, but you've had a very, like, the last 6 months from you, you've done a lot of really great stuff. So, I mean, you're inducted to the Hall of Fame. You had this book. You're now with the Lakers right now with the season. I mean, I know LeBron James is injured, but, LeBron James is with the Lakers. Magic Johnson's running the Lakers. I mean, it's been a pretty incredible time, huh?
Yeah, no, you're quite right, my friend. When it rains, it pours, and sometimes in life that could go either way. But in this particular sense, 2018 was a great year. We took a lot of momentum into 2019 with the projects that I did that you just described, and now with Legends of Sport, my new platform that is launched, going to the second season of my podcast and our platform. And we meaning myself and my partners at Legends of Sport, we're hoping that this is a very, very pivotal year for us to kind of catapult Legends of Sport out to the public, out to the world, beyond the podcast and social media. So there's a lot of irons in the fire. I am spending literally every waking moment when I'm not on a baseline or on an airplane developing this new platform. And hopefully next time we speak, I'll have some really, really great news to tell you. Not at liberty right now to discuss it, but hopefully, keeping my fingers crossed, there will be some good news to come.
Perfect. That sounds great. I want to ask you a little bit about your induction to the Hall of Fame. So I know that you got the Kurt Gowdy Award. So I mean, sorry, I guess I apologize for the maybe ignorance about this, but that was part of the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Naismith
enshrinement.
Yeah,
the enshrinement. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, which is located in Springfield, Massachusetts, holds an enshrinement weekend every year. And the big event, obviously, is their enshrinement event, which is when the coaches and players and notables around the game are enshrined. They actually become Hall of Famers. And it's a nationally televised event. That's on a Friday night. That's preceded by a dinner on Thursday night, which honors the Gowdy Award winners and the Bunn Award winner, which is a Lifetime Achievement Award for people who are not coaches or players or teams. And it's pretty much as close to enshrinement as you can get without, having your bust on the wall or something. But super incredibly amazing event, I got to tell you. The Gowdy Award is named after Kurt Gowdy, a very famous sportscaster and sports journalist who I actually grew up listening to and didn't know him, but I followed him very, very closely. He did probably every known sport to man, but was very well known for his basketball reporting. And the Gowdy Award is divided into two different categories. One is electronic, which is essentially and has historically gone to people in the broadcasting field. So this year, the great Doris Burke won it, and very deservedly so. One of my great friends. You see her all the time on the sidelines, and one of the first. I think she is actually the first woman to regularly do commentary during an NBA game, and now we see her very regularly on the network, and throughout the entire season, postseason, and then. The second part of the award goes to someone in the print media, which, again, has historically gone to journalists, print journalists. So I'm only the second photographer to be honored with that print award. First one was Rich Clarkson, who was very well known for his achievement covering the NCAA. I think Rich has done 55 or so Final Fours in his career. Pioneer and one of the greats in our business. But I'm the first NBA-centric photographer to be honored with that award, which, is incredibly humbling, but incredibly gratifying, too, I got to tell you. I mean, it's, to have a 37-year career and being honored in that way by your peers and people in the industry and the Hall of Fame itself, we just have to sit back and really take it in, and hasn't particularly quite sunk in yet, but when I go back to Springfield next year and I see it there permanently, on the wall and stuff, it's going to be pretty cool.
Wow. No, that's definitely incredible, because I know the last time we spoke, I think it was maybe 2 days before the ceremony, or it was like right before the ceremony.
Yeah,
I remember we talked about it a little bit.
I think you're right.
And
right.
Yeah, when he told me that, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I saw some of the media highlights of it, and I thought, I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I was very happy for you. I even texted you too, and I was like, great job.
Thank you.
No, that's amazing. I want to ask you a little bit about the season so far for the Lakers. Like, what has it felt like energy-wise inside the Staples Center, like since LeBron's been playing there?
Well, it was pretty amazing. I mean, the first preseason games, and then, of course, it's opening night of the regular season, and all the build-up to seeing him in a Laker uniform. None of us in the media or anyone really associated with the team even, had seen him in a Laker uniform since he signed in early July until we saw him on Media Day, which was, 2.5 months later. It's very unusual. Usually, when a big name signs as a free agent, we immediately have a press conference. I have to do a photo shoot, all kinds of stuff. But LeBron didn't do that, so that was kind of cool. Covering him in Media Day, seeing him in the Laker purple and gold, and then I really felt like the energy was back at Staples. It's been a little stagnant the last couple of years, and the fans have stood by the team and been very patient, I think, for the most part, and when Jeannie made changes and Rob Pelinka and Magic came in, we all knew, I think every fan knew, and everyone working around the game knew that there were going to be some exciting times ahead, of course, and LeBron being number one there. So excitement level has been tremendous. There's a little bit of air being let out of the balloon at the very, very moment, only because he's been out for these last, 10 games or so, and has a few more to go. But he'll be back. Rondo will be back. They'll have the full squad. They'll make a great playoff push. I'm super confident. The second half of the season is going to be as exciting as the beginning of the season was. And, it's got to be hard for fans because there was so much anticipation. And then, of course, you're seeing LeBron flying up and down the court in a Laker uniform, and boom, all of a sudden he's out with an injury, which is very unlike him. He doesn't really ever get hurt in his career, but I think this might be the longest he's ever been out for an injury. So he'll be back soon, and the energy level will be ratcheted back up, and it's going to be a great second half.
It's interesting that you mentioned, I guess, the introductory kind of, I don't even know what you would call it, introductory junket or whatever, the event that would typically be something like Rob Pelinka and Magic Johnson introducing LeBron and talking about it. I did kind of think it was weird that I don't remember seeing one. Like, I remember thinking to myself that, wow,
there wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, was there ever an official reason?
There was never an official reason. No. I guess, speculating now that maybe it was up to LeBron whether he wanted to do that or not. And I guess he was on vacation with his family and getting some much needed time off, getting away from the game. So I don't question it or even think about really why that it was. It was unusual, but I'm sure it's not unprecedented that hadn't happened in the past. If you remember when he went to Miami, that was a big, giant event, press conference, kind of choreographed event. And, maybe he wanted something a little bit more low-key this time. So, but it was, a lot of anticipation, particularly on my part, not having seen him in a Laker uniform, not having been able to photograph him. And a lot of pressure was on me during media day, where it's a very high voltage, high pressure situation for 2 hours, and I get very little time with him, so had to be ready, had to have everything locked in, and I was able to produce some good photography, so I'm happy about that.
I remember that was, I forgot what day of the week it was, but I took an hour and a half basically out of the work day to watch that event, the media day, just to see LeBron and especially seeing somebody like Rondo too, where it's like, wow, here's this Celtic in here, he's talking about winning a title this year, and most Laker fans were like, oh well, we're glad someone's saying it.
It was kind of I got to tell you, it was as weird as it was to see LeBron in a Laker uniform. It was even weirder to see Rondo in a Laker uniform, honestly. But these things happen. I mean, Joe Torre, lifetime Yankee, ended up managing the Dodgers, so figure that out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I'm sure we could point to other times that's happened in sports history. But that was a little weird. But very happy to have those guys on our team and as teammates, and they're great together. Those guys, two veteran leaders. It's really amazing. And the Clippers season, which is my part B of what I do, has been really fun as well. They've been a lot of fun to cover. Doc Rivers has really put a great team together on the court, and I'm looking forward to what they can do, second half of the season, and what kind of noise they can make in the playoffs. So it's been a lot of fun at Staples Center covering these two teams this year.
It definitely, I would have liked, though, it would have been a really cool image to see, like, Magic and, like, LeBron holding the jersey together, kind of like, I'm sure you were the one who took it, the photo of Jerry West with Shaq with the jersey when Shaq came to the Lakers. Yeah, I mean...
Yes, I did take that. That picture, that was actually shot in Atlanta during the 96 Olympics, believe it or not. That deal was made while the Olympics were going on, and Lakers had a big press conference in Atlanta. So, you never know how these things, when they happen, you got to be ready.
Because that photo, that's definitely an iconic photo. I mean, obviously, all the iconic photos of the NBA have come from you, but that in particular, that photo was also very iconic.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, probably number two in the ones I've shot in my career. Number one being when Wayne Gretzky was traded from Edmonton to the Kings in, when was it, 92, I think. Man, no one ever thought that would happen. And to see him holding up a Kings jersey with then owner Bruce McNall was pretty epic, I got to tell you. So that was amazing. Yeah.
Wow. So far too. So for the season, just for people that might not know, so you travel. How many games a year do you actually work? Like what you actually do the photography for?
Well, I would say, Mark, it's somewhere in the neighborhood. It depends on the year, and how long, let's say, the finals go, or a year like this where I am traveling more than I anticipated because of LeBron, and covering him on the road. I probably do close to 100 games in a year, and that doesn't include USA basketball over the summer, covering them, their training camp, and whatever exhibition games they might have, or whatever's going on. That includes WNBA as well. I'll do probably a dozen WNBA games with the Sparks. So yeah, it's a busy time. My company, Bernstein Associates, we basically cover 7 teams here in the LA area. If you think about it, we have the Lakers, Clippers, Kings, and Sparks. The 2 G League teams, which the Clippers and the Lakers have G League teams, and I'm a contributing team photographer to the LAFC, the new soccer team here in town. So, we keep very, very busy. I have a great crew. They're pretty interchangeable. I can have somebody cover a concert one night, a hockey game the next night, a press conference the next night, a portrait, an event. It doesn't matter. Everybody has to be ready for whatever's going to come our way. And, it's a busy schedule. So, got to keep on top of that. And I have a terrific office manager, Kristen Lee, who really, I don't know how she does it, but somehow, she keeps everybody pointed in the right direction, including me, more than anybody.
So when let's say you work a game, like for example, the Clippers, they played the Pistons, I think yesterday or 2 days ago. So how long is the process?
On Sunday, yeah.
How long is the process from when you take the photos to when they actually get out to, either those teams' PR departments or just, they go into places like Bleacher Report if something, like if a really interesting photo happens or a photo opportunity happens. I guess what's the process like from when you take the photos to them actually, getting out, let's say, like I mentioned,
Sure.
Teams using them and whatnot.
Yeah, well, we do what's as close to live coverage as possible in sports, in still photography. So, you're used to seeing live sporting events televised. Obviously, you're seeing it as it happens. Still photography, that's always been a challenge because in the film days, obviously, you'd have to develop the film and make prints, on site or feed them to the wire services, or if it was color, you'd have to process that film overnight or, ship it somewhere. So there'll be a lot of time in between when you actually took the picture and when it was out there for public consumption. Now it's basically instant, Marcus. If you can imagine, all my cameras have a Ethernet cord plugged into a port on the camera. And as soon as I take the picture, push the shutter button, that high-speed line is feeding my photo back to an editor in New Jersey at NBA Photos, who's sitting at a computer ingesting photos as I shoot them, not only from the cameras I'm looking through, but the remote cameras that I'm firing, by remote control. And as those photos are coming in, that editor is choosing very quickly which are the better shots, and quickly captioning them and sending them immediately off to Getty Images, and Getty posts them almost immediately. And so it's almost real time. I mean, it could happen almost in real time if the Getty person was almost on site. But this is close to live coverage as we could get. And if somebody listening to this, if there's a game tonight, and you're watching the game on TV, for example, and let's say you see a great Anthony Davis dunk, right? on TV. Well, I would almost guarantee if I got the photo, if I actually shot it and it was a good picture, that photo would be on Getty Images within 5 minutes of when I shot it, at the most, maybe less. Because, again, they're receiving that as I shoot it. And from there, that's where the world goes to get our photos, our NBA photos, because Getty is our licensed provider to the world. So if you're a website, if you're a social media platform, if you're a newspaper, if you're a poster company, if you're a shoe company, whatever, you go to Getty Images to find those photos.
You know, as soon as you mentioned Getty, obviously you've worked with them for years. I have thought that to myself though, that you know, you go online, at least for myself, you know, I look up, you know, whatever topic it is, and I see Getty Images all over the place, and I've always wondered, you know, why do they own, it seems like, a third of all images on the internet? That's one thought I've always had. And how did they even, because I know they're connected to the Getty family, I imagine, right?
Sure. You know, it's part of the humongous Getty family of, I don't know how many companies are in their conglomerate, you know. But Getty be, I guess in the late 90s or so, there was a company called All Sport, which came from the UK, and they All Sport made licensing deals with some of the different leagues, so that they would then service the world's media as basically one-stop shopping. So when Getty came in, they purchased All Sport as well as some other stock picture agencies, and Getty has really become, I guess, the gold standard of licensed photo distributors. They pretty much have almost every league out there in the world. So if you're looking for photos, no matter what the sport, first stop usually is Getty. If you're looking, you know, to publish a photo or license a photo. So that's kind of how it's done. They have taken everything in-house. We used to do a lot of that at NBA Photos ourselves, but then it became, you know, rather expensive to have a big crew and be paying people and have that infrastructure, and Getty took that over. So it's been a pretty good marriage, I think, for the leagues, the teams. The teams are then serviced also by Getty through their agreement with the different teams. And, you know, I think it's been good. I think if the media has one place to go, they know where to go to get it. Their site is very, very easy to navigate. You know, it's worked out well.
Oh, interesting. All right, Andy. Well, definitely. I want to thank you again so much for coming on. So when did you say the new episodes of Legend of Sports is going to start debuting, or is it going to come out?
Well, we actually started last week. So
okay.
Our first episode was released last Tuesday. David Robinson, the Admiral, and he's running currently right now. The next one, every Tuesday, a new episode will come out. So tomorrow, I'm really happy to launch an episode with Tamika Catchings, who amazing WNBA legend, 4-time gold medalist, and all kinds of accolades. So coming out with the podcast with her tomorrow. Got some really great guests coming up that we just actually finalized the list of the next 5 or 6 guests today. So that's very cool. So if the fans can go on Legends of Sport on podcast, you can either get it off of Podcast One or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It's Legends of Sport. Follow me on social media. My personal social media is ADB Photo Inc., but we have social media, Instagram for Legends of Sport, at Legends of Sport, and Twitter at LOS Podcast 1. And we're running contests and all kinds of stuff. And we also have a blog, which I don't even know if you're aware of, but we have a really great interactive blog called legendsofsport.blog, where we have a great writer named Jonas Scharf, who's doing this week I'm sorry, this day in sports history every single day, and then writes a long form piece about this week's guest on the podcast. And the public is welcome to comment and interact with us on the blog. So that's a lot of fun as well.
Wow. Well, definitely. We'll make sure to check that all out. Well, Andy, again, I want to thank you so much
Cool.
for coming on, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Well, Mark, it's always a pleasure, and I'm always at your disposal, my friend. Thank you for your patience with my wacky schedule, but great to connect with you again, my friend.
All right. No problem, Andy. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Bye.
All right, bye.